Hello, making a new video. Today we're going to take a look at one of the cheapest teams that you can build for the Go Battle League here. This is a very good starter team if you want to get into the game or in general want to try to win some battles now during the Go Battle weekend here. We're going to have the Noctowl again, which was recently a lot of times available. Like I think like 3 events in a row we had this Pokemon available, especially during New Year's time, so this is definitely widely available. And then we have 2 Community Day Pokemon where only one has a Community Day move with the Altaria, which having access here to Moonblast. You don't need Moonblast. Like, it is better to have Moonblast, don't get me wrong. But if you just have an Altaria laying around there and you don't have the legacy move Moonblast there, you can use Dazzling Beam or Dragon Pulse. Moonblast is usually never really used anyway, it's rarely used to be fair, so you don't really need it too much. Here we're actually going to be able to make an interesting play there against the opponent's Lickitung. We got kind of hardwood I think in the lead there, so I kind of want to try to realign. My opponent noticed that as well, but I think I can farm them down in time, so we're going to shield here with like nearly 0 HP and we will be able to realign with our Noctowl. If you haven't built a Noctowl yet, you are definitely doing something wrong. This Pokemon is currently the best Pokemon in the meta. And one other thing which is interesting here is that we have the Obstagoon in the lead, which is something that I rarely see, but this thing is so insanely strong. You're going to see a lot of matchups where this thing just completely goes to town here. I actually don't know if I get a single boost with it, I don't think so. And I played 4 sets with it, so I'm actually pretty sure I didn't get a single boost, which is really crazy, but there are a ton of ghost types around right now, like Trevenantry came back, especially what came back, which is really good for this team, which also brought me most likely all those good results, is that Sableye is back. Sableye is so much more common recently, which is so bad for this, like against this team, because you have Elite that's really good against it, and you have Pokemon in the back that are really good against it. This is a horrible lead here. We're going to swap out immediately into our Noctowl, get greeted by the Azumarill, and this is opening up another chapter for this video where you can talk about fairy types. If you already noticed here, you're pretty weak against fairy types. You could do several things to fix it if it's actually an issue. For me, I played 4 sets. I went positive in general with this team. I think I went around, 13 and 7 I went with it. So basically, nearly a 66% win rate with this team. And still, I faced some fairy types. I won against a few fairy types. There are not a lot of fairy types currently really in the meta. Azumarill is pretty rarely seen actually, which is wild. Like usually those like the biggest Pokemon back in the day, like everybody used it. But otherwise we got the recent nerf to Charm, which really put people off using fairy types in general. Or if you do it, like usually they run like Powder Snow Ninetales. And Powder Snow Ninetales actually loses against our lead Obstagoon, which is funny. You just have to go for the 2-shield scenario, because if you get hit by the one Dazzling Beam, this game is over. But otherwise, Powder Snow Ninetales is actually pretty manageable to deal with here. And Altaria in the back gives it like such a big component with it as well. You're going to have like a Pokemon in the lead that can destroy steel types. That's the main idea behind this here. And then you're going to have the swap into your Noctowl to bait out steel types, so Altaria can sweep endgame, and this happens so often, which is insane. If you still feel okay, I'm a little bit too weak against fairy types, not a team for me, you could use something else in the lead there. You can use a different Pokemon in the lead. For example, Toxicroak would make a lot of sense. Toxicroak is part poison type, but you need 50k for the second charge move. Here you need only 10k for everyone here. So Toxicroak would, that's why I didn't use Toxicroak as well. Toxicroak would basically be a little bit more expensive than compared to an Obstagoon, for example, here, but Toxicroak, of course, would be able to win against most Charm users as well, because you have the resistance there with the poison typing, while you still have Sludge Bomb available for yourself as well, while you still beat the steel types that you want to beat. So definitely an alternative if you're too scared about the fairy types, but from my own experience at least, I didn't really encounter them too often. And like those games where I didn't encounter them, I basically always won anyway, so it's a really, really good team. I can highly recommend it to you. I always basically do every season like one video about the cheapest team, and this time around it's this one. Just mainly I want to use Noctowl, and because Noctowl is just such a value pick right now. Like it's actually like, while I don't like that Noctowl is so strong in the current meta, in my opinion it's a little bit too strong. Having a Pokemon that only needs 10k for the second charge move to be unlocked, and being basically the best Pokemon in the meta while also being super available to everybody, makes it fairly common, but still very nice. Here, for example, as I said already before, it's a current trend that you don't run Charm anymore, Ninetales, so you have basically here the Obstagoon, which still can deal with it, which is kind of cool. They're actually going to be able to bait me here. I'm going to let the next move go through, expecting that it's not a Dazzling Beam. It's not a Dazzling Beam, it's going to be a Weather Ball. And we can go ahead and go for some cross-chop action here, chopping them down as we go and get the shield from the opponent as well here. We're actually going to shield this move up as well, because I think I can farm them down now and I get a ton of energy by that. By actually going to throw a charge move here. Most likely the opponent going to secure themselves a shield advantage here as we see a Lantern coming in. I have to stay in here now because I want the Lantern against my Altaria, but I don't want the Lantern against my Noctowl, so I hope that they don't have a Steel type in the back. But even then, while our both Pokemon in the back are really weak to Steel types, you still have some play sometimes against them, which is kind of wild. Altaria does still a lot of damage against them as well, same as goes for Noctowl, but against Sableye, as I said already prior, this is a common trend recently. A lot more Sableyes around because less Charm users, less Fairy type users, so like this Pokemon is a little bit freer, I guess. But still, the issue is here for them, the matchup against Noctowl. And the matchup against Noctowl is something that we're going to like here, of course, as we can go for one Sky Attack, knocking them straight out. We see the Lantern in the back. What do they want to do here? They could already forfeit here at this point anyway. We can still go for one Sky Attack, getting the final shield from the opponent, or they let this move go through and give me the win. They're going to let this move go through and give me the win, as there was nothing they could do. Next one coming in, we're going to see the Lantern here. Lantern going to be a very, very cool one, as we're going to be able to go for some more Night Slashes. Lantern is actually one of the strongest Pokemon as well right now, especially with a Plague of Noctowl. It's going to be the Water Gun version, which can be a little bit tricky. They're going to go for Surf, which is definitely actually the right thing to do for them. The difference between Surf and Thunderbolt is not that big, so like for them going for that, it's pretty safe. We will be able to go ahead and go for another move here with Night Slash, going to knock them straight out as we see the Dragonite coming in and a Frostlass in the back. This is going to be already a good game here. There's not a lot that we can do about this, as, yeah, like, we will see that we can go for one more Sky Attack, but, like, yeah, the backline just completely destroys me. But here's the thing, you kinda are really weak to Frostlass as well with this team. Frostlass is not as common, to be fair, but it's still going to cure sometimes at least. You try to bait it out with the Say So, which actually can get a shield advantage against it. But if you don't get it in the lead, which we did get here, it's actually fine that we face one back-to-back now. Pretty sure it's like the only Frostlass that I faced in general over the Go Battle Day. Those battles are, by the way, all during the Go Battle Day as well. We will be able to go ahead and shield up the next move from the opponent. Avalanche coming through here. And we can go ahead and go for another Night Slash. Getting the shield from the opponent, I can farm them down all the way for the final, for the last bit of itself. Avalanche going to get shielded here, and I can farm them all the way down. We see an Obstagoon coming in. Kind of make a mistake here by throwing my move here already and staying in for a little bit. Going to be able to get them very low, but they're going to have a Stunfisk on the back. Something I didn't really expect too much, but here you see the thing with Noctowl and why Noctowl is such an amazing Say-Sub in the current meta, or like in general. This Pokemon is actually, on paper at least, super weak to Stunfisk, but Noctowl doesn't care about the paper. Noctowl cares about throwing some Shadow Balls into the Stunfisk face, as we're going to get them lower as we are ourselves, and even though they shielded I think once before, which is wild. They can go for one Rock Slide, have fun with that, good luck with that. I can still get basically the Rock Slide onto me here, because we don't die to two Rock Slides there. We're going to be able to get to another move here with our Obstagoon, gonna get them low, and we can swap out into our Altaria. We can take the move, we can still take one Rock Slide, and the opponent is just way too low at this point. They're going to forfeit here, even though they had like their Steel type against my backline, which is at least on paper weak to Steel. Very easy win there. We'll see the next one here. This is going to be a little bit tricky. Of course, our lead already gets hard-walled by the... it's not really hard-wall, but it's definitely not a favorable matchup against the Venusaur, as we're going to face here a Walrein coming in, which is also not ideal whatsoever. They have to still throw here. They cannot farm me down. I mean, they could farm me down if they shield once, but they usually don't want to give up a shield. I'm going to go straight into my Obstagoon again. Should have waited out the switch clock a little bit here. A little bit too fast into going into this thing, but it actually doesn't matter because they're going to swap out into their Gliscor now. Gliscor is actually a little bit tricky. Gliscor against Altaria, they're going to go straight for Night Slash anyway. They have nothing else to hit you. If they boost here, that's going to be a horrible matchup. If they don't boost here, it's still kind of tricky. We're going to go for one Sky Attack soon. They're actually going to be able to reach soon another charge move here as well. We can go for this guy attack, gonna get the first shield, we can go for another one. They have to shield this move up as well, they have to respect the move. As we're going to see here that we can hopefully farm them all the way down, we have to see, we're going to shield up the next move, Night Slash coming through, and we're going to see the Venusaur coming in, but they cannot outspeed us. The Sky Attack is coming through, and this Sky Attack is nearly knocking out the Venusaur. One more fast move is enough to knock them out, and they're going to forfeit here as well. This team worked out so well, I climbed like 100 points I think with it in total, so like it was so good. We'll see here the Swampert coming in, and we have a horrible Say Swap against us again. The Registeel, actually a very bad one there for us, because I think they can farm us down afterwards. If they go for one Zap Cannon here, I think they can farm us down with just the lock-ons alone. We will see the Zap Cannon coming through, of course, we're gonna get the attack debuff. Always when I do my Zap Cannons, I never get the attack debuff. Here my opponent gets them immediately. But I can still go ahead and go for another move usually. This time around they're going to go for the charge move first. I can go for 5 fast moves there and then throw my charge move if I even need to, but I can farm them down in time. We see the Medicham coming in, and now it's Altaria against 2 Pokemon which are super weak to Altaria, which is amazing. This thing though learns Ice Punch, which is going to be a little bit of a difficult one to win against, and it's still not over at all, because the Medicham actually going to be able to outspeed our Altaria here just slightly, which allows them to definitely get to another Ice Punch afterwards. I have to basically try to win this game with my Obstagoon later, so it's going to be a wild one, because this Ice Punch is going to get us into range basically for the Hydro Cannon from the Swampert. Let's see what they're going to do. They're going to go for the Ice Punch here. I'm going to swap out, go for the Night Slash, but they're swapping out as well into the Swampert in the same time. We will be able to go ahead and get to another Night Slash in time here. They're going to throw most likely an Earthquake or something against us. Let's see, we're going to get them very, very low. Do they go for the Earthquake here? Do they go for 2 Hydro Cannons? Let's see, they're going to go for 2 Hydro Cannons, it seems like. They're super low already, but they can knock us out here for sure. Hydro Cannon coming through. We will be able to farm down with the Altaria. Can we get to the next move in time? We can just barely get to the Sky Attack, and Altaria can clean up this game here. Goodbye opponent, goodbye Medicham. Going into the next one, we will see the Obstagoon against the Noctowl. Interesting matchup here. What I usually do is, because we have an ABB line and we have to get out the potential Steel type, I'm going to just farm up extra energy and then swap into my Noctowl onto basically the potential charge move from the opponent. Here we see the Galarian Stunfisk coming in, which is amazing for us because we want to get out those Pokemon here. We don't really want to face the Galarian Stunfisk later on, so we want to face it right now. We can go ahead and go for another Shadow Ball and we can get them super, super low. It's not too important for us to align our Pokemon, I think, because they're most likely going to have something neutral in the back, something that's like good as a Say Swap here, because usually you wouldn't really use Stunfisk as a Say Swap. You can use it, but still, I can just shield up the move from the opponent, and I can just farm them all the way down. Goodbye Stunfisk. This is so crazy how good this Pokemon is. Sadly, they're gonna go into Lantern, so I should have went for the Shadow Ball instead, but I expected them to go into their own Pokemon again. And so I can go ahead and go for one charge move here with Obstagoon. Do I get the boost? Of course, we don't get any boost at all. We will be able to go ahead and take this move. Sky Attack definitely doesn't do enough damage, but they can go for another one in time. But does it knock me out? It does not. Obstagoon is amazing. Obstagoon can just barely survive here, going for the Night Slash, getting the shield from the opponent, and now it's a farm down race. Can we farm them down? Can we get enough energy from this matchup in general? This is the question here. We will see that we can go for one Moonblast against the opponent's Lantern. Lantern coming in here, going to take this Moonblast, going to shield this Moonblast up though, which allows us to go ahead and go for more farm down there. They have to go for one Thunderbolt no matter what. We're going to get them low, but it's going to be a tough one. Can we actually still knock out the Noctowl in time? Do they have a move stored? I'm not sure. We will be able to knock out the Lantern here. Can we knock out the Noctowl? We will see. We will see. We don't get the knockout here. They are just barely, like, they're one turn basically away from getting knocked out, but this is enough for the Noctowl to still stand there and going to knock us out. Final game. Pretty awkward lead here. We have the Skarmory. We see a Surf Edge coming in. This is even worse for me. Should have most likely went into my Altaria. It's a little bit of a safer matchup, but the Night Slash coming through here, also fine for me. Can go for one Sky Attack. Sky Attack gonna get the shield for sure. If they want to give me a shield, and they want to give me a shield, allowing me to go ahead and shield up their move as well. Going to be the Night Slash as well. We just don't see boost today. Like, no Night Slash boost at all, neither on my side or my opponent's side. We can go for another charge move. They're going to let this move go through and we can realign, which is amazing because I really want to realign. But this already tells me what they have in the back. They're going to have a Medicham in the back at this point, because this is a very common team. Double fighter with the Skarmory in the lead. Very, very common team. Very, very good team as well, I think, in the current meta. Especially Skarmory has the option to destroy charm users if you ever face them. Here we see the Machamp, which I expected. I swapped out pretty fast, which is helpful as they're gonna go for one Ice Punch here. I can go ahead and farm up extra, go for my Sky Attack before they can go for another Charge move here. They are forced to shield this one, and I should still be able to get to another Sky Attack in time before they can get to another Ice Punch here, as we will be able to shield this move up. We can go for the Sky Attack, and I don't know if the Skarmory has enough to deal with our 2 Pokemon left. They are pretty high though, like maybe they still can get there, I don't know. They can go for one Charge move here, it's going to be a close one. Can we actually knock them out with the Obstagoon? Obstagoon goes for one Night Slash. This is enough to knock them out, we will see. It is not. Can we counter them down? We can, and this is going to be a good game. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a very cheap team that you should use in the Go Battle League. And if you did, please leave a like on it, helps me out a ton, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye!